All right, welcome on to this Q&A. Again, want to welcome on to this Q&A. A few questions came in. One, we'll see where all this goes. Basically, a question came in that someone went to a pharmacy and gave them medicine that wasn't theirs, right? Basically, gave them someone else's medicine, and they came back, returned the medicine, said, I gave me the wrong medicine, whatever it was, and they gave it by accident, right? They gave it by accident. Now, pharmacists wanted to give them $20 cash reward, right? In other words, add to their pharmacy card, right? I guess. So the person said that I told them I'm Jewish, which I don't know why this is going to matter, but I told them I'm Jewish, I can't accept the reward. Right? So she's insisting I take it. I told her, and she didn't want to take it. She wanted to know if she was allowed. Right? She's allowed to take it. So now it's very interesting. Right? What do I see here? First of all, there are a few things here. One is the person, they gave them the wrong medicine. Okay. They gave them the wrong medicine. Now, even if they gave them the wrong medicine and they return it, does that person now wants to give them a reward? Seemingly a reward for returning the medicine. Right? Now they made a mistake. Right? Obviously they have to give her the right medicine. Good. Right? They have to give the right medicine. Okay. So even if they have to give the right medicine, do they have a right to give a reward? She want to say, thank you very much. I want to add, $20, whatever it is, to your cart. Now, if that person, right, we'll take it, we'll look at this first. If that person has the ability, right, they have that ability, to give out, I don't know, give out rewards or whatever. Not just, well, it's a good thing, and they don't have that kind of power, right? Let's say if they have that kind of power, they could give a cash reward for something or, add money to your card, whatever it is. If legitimately they have that power to do it, then what's the problem? Why would that be forbidden? Right? Why should that be forbidden? And they said, that they're Jewish and they can't accept the reward. Yeah. So let's analyze this for a second. What does that do with being Jewish? So you say, well, is it true Jews cannot receive a reward? Why not? Right? Even though it is brought down, someone who hates somebody hates gifts will live, right? Sone matanos yichya. So you say there's a concept. Maybe by some extremely righteous people, they don't want to accept anything from anyone. Yeah, they don't want to accept any gifts. Now, is that a Jewish concept? It's a Jewish concept. Now the question is why? It could be someone will say, you don't want to accept a gift from someone else. I did what I did. Why should I get rewarded for it? That's one aspect of it. Second aspect is the person takes a gift from someone else. Let's say, I don't know, whatever reason they do. Now the person feels indebted to the other person. Now the person did them a favor. They helped them out. They feel indebted. So it could be there'll be people who won't want to take gifts for that reason. because they don't want to feel indebted to someone else. Yeah, in either case, someone does a good deed, someone helps someone else out, or in this case, with the store, right? There are two questions here. First of all, does the person have the right to give? That's the first question. If they don't have the right to give, you don't have the right to take. In other words, if they're the manager, let's say, or if they be the owner of the company, fine. They want to give you a gift, they can give you a gift. They have the right to do it. If it's someone in power, let's say it's a manager. Can he give a gift? Give a gift. Right? Why not? If he's got the ability to do so. Now the question would be, what if they don't have the power to do so? If they don't have the power to do so, they're stealing. Right? Essentially, they're stealing. So the question would be, what's going on here? Right? What exactly is the case? Right? So this comes up quite a bit. Let's say a person works in an office. Yeah. So, they're paid to work, not, look at their phone unless they're on a break. Right? They're paid not to look at things they don't need to look at while they're working. That's stealing. The whole prohibition. Right? Jews and non-Jews. That'd be stealing. Now, if you're doing it on your break, very good. Right? So if you got a break, okay, do what you want. If not, the boss is paying you to work. So essentially, that'd be stealing. Now, if they give you permission, which I doubt, but let's say it's downtime. You got no customers, you got no work to do. Yeah. So, the ones in charge say, okay, so, you want to look at your phone, other things, okay, there's no work. There's nobody around. But if there's other things to be done, even if it's a slow time, you got to tidy things up, you got to put things away, whatever, whatever it may be. But even if there are no customers, that means, and you're not doing that, essentially that's stealing. Now, also, let's say we'll make it a little more graphic. Person, again, we're talking about an office here, let's say. So, are they allowed to print things? They have something personal they want to print. Right? So, well, first of all, you have to have permission, right? If you're allowed to print it. Otherwise, again, that would be stealing. Right? Right? But what would be a general rule? A general rule would be, let's say you have something to print. You have something to print, whatever it may be. A couple pages, probably not going to matter. Right? Probably not going to make a difference. If you want to print out something, I don't know, 30 pages, 20 pages, it's a different issue. Different issue. If a worker's given permission, yeah, they want to use the printer or other things as much as they want, that's not a problem. That would not be a problem. Right? Again, you have to go according to what the custom is in that place. Maybe different places have different customs. Right? What you're allowed to do, not allowed to do. If you're allowed to do it, very good. Or if it's something that's relatively minor, you'll tell me, he printed out a page, probably not going to care. Even a few pages, probably won't care. I would think, 5, 10 pages, maybe a different issue. Okay? But again, if a person doesn't have permission, and it's not, and it's clear, then when a person does something like that, they're stealing. It's total prohibition. Total prohibition. You're stealing time. Or you might be stealing other things. Yeah, because when a person's paid to work, they're paid to work. They're on the clock. If you're off the clock, different issue. Right? Or I would say that if a person's supposed to work, 8 hours, and they work 7 hours, 20 minutes, the other 40 minutes, they were doing other things when they should have been working. They owe 40 minutes. That's stealing. It's total prohibition. Right? So in this case, again, the question is going to be if if they returned the wrong medicine they got. So if the person there has the ability to give them a reward, good. So why shouldn't they take it? The person says, I'm Jewish, can't accept reward. Why not? If a person is on an extremely high spiritual level, they don't want to take gifts from anybody in general, unless like absolutely they have to. Right? They don't want to be helped out by other people. God will take care of my needs. If I don't have it, I'm not supposed to have it. The fact you want to give it to me, right? The whole question, should you take it or not? Right? That's the question. So it'll depend on the person. But outrightly, it's not forbidden unless the person giving it, let's say again, if it's a person who works in a store, if they don't have a right to give it, they don't have that kind of power, then that's stealing. They're wrong and you're wrong for taking it. They don't have the power, right? It'd actually be an interesting question. If they gave it and they really didn't have the power and you took it, so you're assuming they have the power to give. Now the question is, did you transgress by taking it? Then, it's an interesting question. Why? They didn't do anything wrong. It's their fault. True? 100% their fault. They stole, right? They didn't have power to give. Right? So right now they gave it, but you didn't know that. Right? So you took it. So the fact still could be. Fact, they don't have the power to give, you don't have the power to take. But what if you don't know? What if you don't know? So we would say, if you don't know, then you shouldn't take it. Yeah. If you know the person has the power to give. So again, there's a philosophical issue here. The question would be, if they have the power to give, should you take it? Again, let's say it's not something significant. Right? Okay, $20, worth something. True. I'm not going to say it's not worth anything. It's worth something. Pay for medicine someone needs or whatever. Very good. Very, very good. So there's a philosophical issue here. Right? This is the second part. Philosophical issue is, should you take it? I heard someone tell me this. I also thought it was kind of strange. Someone goes to a Jew goes to a supermarket, and the manager there, says, or someone there says, yeah, we'll give, you buy a certain amount, or whatever, you get, 20% off this, or you get a free gift, or, whatever it is. So what's the person saying, which I thought was kind of strange. And this goes into the same question. Essentially goes into the same question. Right? And what the person saying? The person said, I work. I don't need your gifts. Now, why do I think that's strange? So it's one of two things. It's either, right, Sony Matanos Yichya, that a person should hate gifts because it can taint the person. It's like bribery in a certain way, maybe. Right? Maybe it's like that. Maybe it's like that. Or, they don't want to be indebted to someone. Right? They don't want to be indebted. So that I understand. They don't have to be subservient. They don't want to feel like they owe the other person because they did you a favor. There is such an idea. But I think, for most people in general, why shouldn't they take it? Times are hard. They want to give you extra money. Okay. Why not? What's the problem? The only problem is that they don't have a right to do it. If they don't have a right to do it, it's total prohibition of stealing. That's the issue. Right? If they have the power to take it. Sorry, if they have the power to give it. The person who wants to take it, they can take it. Right? That's not a problem. That wouldn't be a problem. If they don't have the power to give it, then that'd be stealing. That'd be stealing across the board. But the second issue is, should the person take it in the first place? So there are pros and cons. Right? If it's a store and you took it, I don't necessarily see the con. Like I'm indebted to the store. They gave me 20 free bucks to use. Okay. Well, what's the problem? They want your business, obviously. So they want to give you extra money. Good. Person shouldn't take it. Why not? If it's someone does you a personal favor, that's a different issue. That's a different issue. Yeah. They do you a personal favor, you feel indebted. Personal feel indebted. What about when it comes to a mitzvah? A person does a mitzvah and someone says, I want a part in the mitzvah. Should you give him a part in the mitzvah? Person can say, but I want the mitzvah for myself. Okay, you can say it's being a little bit selfish, maybe. Well, let's say somebody, I don't know, print something up, to give it to people. Right? Let's say, something on the Torah portion of the week, something like that. So they're going to put it in synagogues, right, where they live. Very good. Right? So every week, let's say they do it. They put in, I don't know, a certain amount, whatever it is. Someone comes along and says, I want to give you a little bit to, help offset the cost. Now, the person can turn around and say, it's my mitzvah, I don't want it. Could do that. I'm not saying the person made the money. They're not offering to pay the whole thing. Okay. You're not asking them to pay the whole thing. They came to you. Person says, I want a part in the mitzvah. Well, I shouldn't give them a part of the mitzvah. Even if it's a small part, what's the difference? Well, they pay 10% of it. They shouldn't get part of the mitzvah. Why not? You're helping them get part of the mitzvah. Now, could a person be selfish and say, it's my mitzvah, I'm going to take the mitzvah myself? Could be. Could very well be. Because they want the mitzvah themselves, okay? Is that a good thing to do? Person's not coming on a regular basis, right? They're not coming on a regular basis and say, okay, let me pay every week. That might be a different issue. And that a person can take also. Why not? Helps offset the cost. They're helping you. You're helping get this thing out. Why not? So again, it's a philosophical issue here. But I could say, very simple. Someone's offering to help, offset the cost. Very good. So even if they're helping offset, even if they're helping offset, they get part of the mitzvah. Yeah, but a person can say, it's my mitzvah. This is what I do. It's my mitzvah. I'm not giving it to you. That being selfish? You can look at it that way for sure. Yeah, but again, there's a philosophical question here. Should a person take the help? Now, there are people very proud that won't take help. Unless they absolutely have to. If they're sick, they can't get around, different things, okay? So they rely on other people. But in general, they don't like to rely on other people. Right? So again, thinking a little bit deeper, why? Why doesn't a person want to rely on someone else? Again, depends what it is. But I would say, very simple, what happens if you really need that person, they don't come through? So who's the only person you can rely on? God. Right? The work of your own hands. Whether it helps you, it doesn't help you, doesn't matter. Right? But who can you rely on? Who do you know you can rely on the most? Yourself. So therefore, if it's crunch time, person needs help with something, whatever. Person you're relying on now doesn't come through. So what would that teach you? In some ways, what would that teach you? Don't rely on people. Never rely on anyone. If at certain times you have to, okay? Right? But if you get in the habit of that, you get let down. What's the person going to do? What's the person going to do? They won't rely on people. Yeah? It's hard to rely on people if you have to. People get let down. But again, this is a philosophical question, right? Part of it's philosophical. Part of it is, whether you should take the help or not. The other part is, does the person have the ability to give you over here, right? Well, I'd say in the store, right? If they have the ability, very good. If, then you can decide, should you take it or you shouldn't take it? Or, like someone said, I work, I don't need this benefit. Why not? What do you care if you're working on? Right? What's the difference? They're giving you the ability, to buy more there. Okay, because you buy there anyway. So say, okay, here's another, you're a great customer, why don't you keep coming back? We'll give you, your next purchase will give you, 10% off or 15% off. Or say, I work, I don't need that. It's kind of a crazy thing to say, right? There are people like getting deals, okay. But if they're offering that, I can't take it, why not? In that business, you shop there anyway, whatever. They want you to keep coming back, okay. Loyal customer, very good. Yeah, why is that a bad thing? It's good for business, right? So say, I'll give you 10% off, whatever. And then, next time after that, you're going to spend anyway. So they'll get even eventually. They'll get even in a short amount of time. Right? So it's a win for them. And you got 10% off. You can haggle there and say, no, give me 20%. Give me 30%. If they have the ability to do it, what's the problem? Right? So again, if it be on an individual basis, I could understand more. You don't want to rely on other people. You don't want to have to feel gratitude for someone that helped you. Okay. There are people that are very proud. Right? People that are very proud. They don't want that kind of help. Either they're very proud or they want to be subservient to someone else because they did them a favor. Could be. That's why people want to ask for help. But in a work environment, right? Whatever the job entitles, that's what you got to do. And if not, a person's, working and they're looking at their phone. I remember I contacted someone and they said, they answered me, so I can't talk, I'm at work, right? They kept texting me. Like, if you're at work, you can't talk, you don't answer. Right? Right? So is that putting a stumbling block in front of someone? I have no idea they're at work. Right? If I, putting temptation in front of them, if I know them at work, some people can step out, some people can't. Okay, so you don't answer. Not the end of the world. You get back when you have a break or whatever. Spoke to someone the other day. He said, yeah, call me anytime. I didn't know what his job was or whatever. Right? He said, I'll pop out. So I said, okay. He's got the time to do it. Whatever. We spoke for a while. I was like, oh, gotta get back to work or whatever. But if a person's got that ability to do it, fine. If you don't have that ability to do it, then that's stealing time. If you can do two things at the same time, then you're working on a spreadsheet, you're checking this, checking out that, you're still having a conversation, whatever it is, but you're doing work at the same time. Now, should that be okay? Depends. It depends. I would assume the bosses, as they want that, unless they're like a very short conversation, because if you're in the middle of doing something, you don't want to mess something up. Very easy to mess something up. You're not concentrating. Makes sense? So it depends on the environment itself. Right? And these things have to be clear cut. Right? And the person that's going to enforce it has to have the power to enforce it. To say, this is what we do, this is what we don't do. Yeah? Right? Whoever the manager is, they'll say, this is what we do. But if the manager would say, like, yeah, the boss doesn't care if you do this or do that, if it's not true, then it's misleading, then it's stealing. Right? You have to see, is this really what you're supposed to do or not? And again, some things I think are more obvious. Would be more obvious. Someone say, oh, you really think the boss cares? I answer the phone for a split second and say, no, sorry, I gotta go, blah, blah, blah. Maybe he wants the phone off. Yeah, or he doesn't want you to answer it. Unless you're on a break. Or what you do is, let's say you clock in. Right? You have to clock in. So clock in, clock out, then clock back in. Right? You can do that if that's possible. In other words, once you clock out, okay, so I'm not working now. But if you're clocked in, that's a problem. So again, I would say, if it's permissible to do, then you're allowed to do it. If it's not permissible to do, that's Torah prohibition. That's Torah prohibition of stealing. Now, a lot of these laws, when it comes to money matters, are Torah prohibitions. So everyone goes to run, is going to learn the laws of Shabbos, right? The laws of conscience, the laws of blessings, other things. A lot of them, are rabbinic prohibitions. Now pushing them aside, it's only rabbinical. Yeah, but there are a lot of laws that are rabbinical prohibitions. Very good. There are plenty of laws that Torah prohibitions also. So why don't people concentrate on, persons in business or works or whatever? Especially a person owns their own business, they have to know what the laws are. They have to know what the laws are. Otherwise, you come to transgress Torah prohibition. Most of these laws are Torah prohibitions. Right? In this case, a person's supposed to be working and they're not. They're on the clock. That's stealing. That's Torah prohibition. Torah prohibition. Right? And a lot of these laws are Torah prohibitions. So it's not just a question that goes according to the law of the land. Right? It's not necessarily a question of that. Some things, would be more obvious. Person works in an office, they print something out, they print one piece of paper, the boss going to care? No. I think that would be the norm. They're not going to care, one piece, two pieces, or whatever. Person starts printing 10 pages, 20 pages, something. Then you have to ask. Right? Certain things that are obvious, I think are obvious. Yeah, but, if a person's on the clock, you're on the clock. If they say, listen, a phone call comes in, and, whatever, you want to take it for, a couple of minutes, this, that, you have permission, you don't have permission, you have to know. You have to know what you're allowed to do. Because if not, this comes to a Torah prohibition. One of the first things, transgressions, that, a person's going to get judged on, after they die, is stealing. Now, stealing doesn't just mean money. Somebody's sleeping, right? Somebody's sleeping, you wake them up. You're stealing their sleep. Totally stealing their sleep. Yeah, so stealing doesn't just mean, you're taking money. Stealing could be time. Stealing could be, you could be, taking someone's sleep. So these are things the person has to know. Has to know, permissible, not permissible. I get questions all the time. People ask, people at work, this happened, that happened. Was I allowed to do this? I'm not allowed to do this. Misrepresentation comes up a lot. Fraud. Fraud. You're selling something that you're not, you're misrepresenting what it is. Because that's what you do. Or, that's what they do. Or let's say your job is to get someone on the phone. Right? You're trying to sell something. Right? Person's in sales. Right? You're trying to sell something. Now, what's the hardest part about getting someone on the phone? Is the gatekeeper. Right? Who's the gatekeeper? Right? Usually someone answers the phone. Right? They're not the ones in charge. Right? They're for sure not the ones in charge. So if they're not the ones in charge, you're trying to get to the ones who's in charge. Yeah, but they're trying to keep you, from getting to them. That's their job. Right? So like the whole, the whole wisdom, exactly how what people tell you in different ways, what to say, what the script is, how to get the right person on the phone. Right? Because you want to get someone, let's say in this case, you want to get someone on the phone who actually makes decisions. Yeah, you don't want a lackey on the phone because you can give this whole thing or whatever, but they don't have any power to do anything. So it's a waste of time. It's a waste of their time, it's a waste of your time. So the person asked, am I allowed to lie? This is what everybody does. Am I allowed to lie, so to speak, in order to get around the gatekeeper? Am I allowed to say things that are not true so I can get the one in charge? Now, most people, certainly, in marketing and and other things, will tell you there are certain things you have to do. Try and get the person on the phone, right? Get the right person on the phone. That's on the phone. That's business, right? You say that's business. That's what people do in order to circumvent the problem because you don't want to waste your time. You want to get the one who's got the ability to make decisions and speak to them. You don't want to speak to a lackey who doesn't make any decisions. So a question came up a while ago. I mean, a lot of similar questions to this. They work for a company, and that's what they do, and that's their script, and that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah. So Torah says in the book of Exodus, Midvar Sheker Terchak, I don't know how to lie. But a person can say, but this is what people do. Right? This is why we don't necessarily care what people do. You got to be honest. You got to do it in a way where you're not lying. Because if you're lying, even to get to the right person, you're still lying. But listen, if people know that's what you're trying to do, that's what you're trying to do, and it's all a big game. Yeah? Doesn't take away from the fact that it's still lying, still misrepresentation. Doesn't take it away. Right? But, these are issues. Business is not a simple thing. There was somebody wanted to leave learning or leave being a rabbi, so to speak, found, all kinds of difficulty, with the jobs, didn't want to go into business. So I forget who it was that told him, he said, yeah, I'll let you go to business if you want to go into business, but you're going to sit down and learn all these laws and see how these things apply and don't think it's going to be any easier. It's a different set of problems. Totally different set of problems. But these are things, person goes into business or works with someone else. They're basic things you have to know. And if not, these very well may be Torah prohibitions. So we mentioned, well, the first thing, God's going to ask you after you die, did you learn Torah or were you honest in business? And people will think, like, what did I do wrong? In business, if it's something outright that's forbidden, I was a middleman involved in real estate when I was in the States. It's a dime a dozen. And most people I contact with were non-Jews, but a dime a dozen people were willing to try and circumvent you in order that they make more money. Now, for non-Jews, that's Torah prohibition of stealing. For a Jew, that's Torah prohibition of stealing. Right? So, what people did, I'm sure they still do it today, is that if they find a property, undervalued property, they want to give it to an investor, they make them sign a non-disclosure. Now, what does a non-disclosure do? Non-disclosure means you're not going to go behind their back. Right? They're not going to go behind your back because if you give them the information, what could they do? They can go straight to the seller. Yeah, they go straight to the seller. They don't mention they found it through you. And then you don't get paid. So I had some people, whatever, it's very hard to enforce, even if they do sign it. But if they won't sign it, then it's a lack of trust. Why do people sign it? For trust. If anyone who, hemmed and hawed and wouldn't sign, like, what, you don't trust me? But I don't trust anybody. Like that, if I hand over this property, what's going to stop you from just going directly to the, I would never do that. Yeah, great. So sign it. If you got no problem, sign it. Anyone who hemmed and hawed, I do business with them. And I got messed up also in a number of things. Right? So I thought real estate was bad. And I saw a lot of other things are just as bad. People want to circumvent in order that they make more money. Very good. So I tell the person, listen, without me, you don't find the property. You're too busy. Right? Investors are busy doing other things. Right? They don't have time to look for properties. Good. So if I find a property, I give it to you. I should get a fee for it. No matter if I made one phone call or not, or how I found it. Irrelevant. That's worth money. How much money? Okay, it's negotiable. That's worth money. You wouldn't have found the property anyway. Right? So sign it. Sign it. You wouldn't have found it. Well, I don't need you. Okay, find your own property. Have that with people. Right? This is not a negotiating thing. Either there's trust or there's no trust. You don't want to have trust. Okay, it's your choice. 100% your choice. But these are prohibitions of stealing. They they don't want to pay you your finder's fee because they want to make more money. Makes sense. And again, it doesn't matter how much work you did or not. And let's say you heard it from someone else, they're going to split it with them. Okay. Right? But you got to build trust. Right? If you don't build trust, then how can you do business with somebody? But again, in all these cases, these are Torah prohibitions. Torah prohibitions. Someone comes to a great rabbi and he says, "Listen, I have a certain quality of cloth. I have grade A, grade B, grade C all mixed together. I want to sell it as grade A." The rabbi looks at him, he's like, "I don't understand the question." So he's okay, let me ask again. He started asking it slower and louder, and the rabbi stopped and said, "I understood the question. So why do you think it's permissible? It's stealing. It's not grade A. It's a mixture. You can't sell it. How can you sell it as grade A?" Well, at least the person asked the question, right? But what was the person's answer? The person's answer was, "Rabbi, that's business. Can't make this stuff up. It's business. You're telling someone this is grade A when it's a mixture. Or it's a hybrid of other things. Can you really look in the face, look the person in the face and say, yeah, 100% this is grade A? They're lying. 100% they're lying. And there'll be people out there that don't have any problem lying straight to your face. Straight to your face. Someone who worked as a mashgiach in China back in the day, I guess before COVID, where, traveling, like, he said they had no problem. They had no problem. They know why you were coming. They know what the whole purpose of the visit was, blah, blah, blah. You try and catch them off guard or whatever. But bottom line, they would lie straight to your face. What a friend of mine told me. Not just there, some other places. It's business. No, we only put these things in that you got to watch them. You got to be on top of them. Everyone wants to make money, make the highest profit in doing the least amount of work or selling something that, got all this other stuff in it. It's much cheaper, and you want to sell it for more. The buyer has to be aware also. But to misrepresent what something is. I know someone who bought a shirt, I think it was a shirt or blouse, and it had gold, seemingly gold, around part of it. They could charge more money for it. Very good. Yeah. First time they put it in the wash, came off. Fraud. Go to get your money back. Right? They're claiming it's something shouldn't come off. How in the world does the thing come off first time in the wash? Oh, you put on too strong a cycle. Should put on delicate. Do me a favor. If it's got like gold trimming around it, it shouldn't come off. It shouldn't be that cheap to come off if you're selling it for more. The person has to be careful. No question. Integrity. People want to make money. Right? So even for an Orthodox Jew to do such a thing, what's the problem here? What's the obvious problem? Emunah. The lack of emunah. I have to do all these things to make more money. God's going to give you what you deserve anyway. So you might as well be honest. Doesn't hurt. It doesn't, doesn't help to be dishonest. Oh, I think you're going to make more money. You lose money other places. You try and grab money where you shouldn't, then you have other expenses. God forbid, a kid gets sick. If, dental work, health, thing, whatever. Car problems, other things. So even a person wants to say, I'm going to grab from here, you're going to lose somewhere else. So essentially it's a lack of emunah. Not to mention the fact these are Torah prohibitions. You can't give over something and say this is something which it's not. That is forbidden. So you got to say, come on, you got to tell me this. I would have known this myself. One of the no-hide laws is a no-hide question. I'll deal with it now, right? But no-hide laws are universal laws. Universal laws for everybody. You would have figured out, right? According to the logic of the Torah, you would have figured it out. Don't steal is one of them, right? Don't commit fraud, another one. Don't misrepresent. Aren't these obvious? Well, some people are going to look for loopholes, but that's not misrepresenting. Everybody does it. This is the way of the world. But it's not the way of the Torah. It might be the way of the world, and it might be the law of the land. They say, if it's the law of the land, and I can do that, and whatever, so it's not a problem. If the Torah says it's forbidden, doesn't matter what the law of the land says. Right? Keep that in mind. The law of the land can go fly a kite. Law of the land doesn't matter. It would be permissible. For us, it's forbidden. We're held to a higher standard. Yeah, someone asked theoretical question. Okay. No-hide visits another no-hide friend. Very good. Walks in the garden. Small stone gets stuck at the bottom of his shoe. Okay. And the grass sticks to his shoe. One cherry falls on the hood of his jacket. Is no-hide committed stealing when those things travel to his property? No. Why not? And he didn't have intention. He had no intention. Something got stuck to his foot, let's say. He ends up taking it to his property. Is the owner going to care? No. If you tell me you picked it off the tree, you took it, put it in your pocket, that's a different issue. If it's something where you're not even aware it happens, the thing got stuck to your shoe, you brought it into your property. Yeah, so technically, brought into your property, it's yours. Right? Technically. But again, if it's something that fell, if it's something that fell and you took it, if it's something the owner would be stringent on, if it be something that he would demand it back, yeah, then you'd have to give it back. Then that'd be stealing. If it's something he's not going to care, he could care less about, right? And he's not going to worry about it even if it happens, it's a different issue, right? Example, person, went to a hotel, right? And what do they end up taking back with them? Maybe they'll take back a bathrobe. Maybe they'll take soap. Maybe they'll take some other things. Now, a person can say, doesn't the hotel know you're going to do it? Someone might do it. Yeah. Are they going to prosecute them for it? No. They're not going to go after them. Right? They're not necessarily going to know unless they, unless they have cameras everywhere. They're not going to run after them per se because it's negligent. Right? Sorry, let's say better. It's negligible. They put it out there for people to use. Some people take this, take that. They understand. Right? So the question, let's say you have a fancy bathroom. Yeah? Are you allowed to take it? You're not allowed to take it. You're not allowed to take it. Now, in this case, let's say they took it. So they're guilty of taking it. But now they leave it and they make it ownerless. Right? Say, okay, whoever wants it can have it. Can you get benefit from it? You're going to say, what's the problem? First of all, you didn't steal it, someone else stole it. You're right. You're getting benefit something that's stolen, but there's one other factor. Even though the person stole it and it's, most likely they're guilty, right? So even if they're guilty, what did they do though? They said anyone who wants it can have it. When a person makes something ownerless, leave something outside by the trash, right? That means it's ownerless. Anyone come and take it. And they're not saving it. So if the person himself made it ownerless, then anyone can take it. But that person actually stole it. And now someone else wearing stolen property. But guess what? The hotel is going to give up hope for it. So therefore, the person already acquired it. Very good. Even if they didn't give up hope, but the person took it, and now we made it ownerless, that's a different issue now. It's not considered something stolen. Why not? Even though it was. Why not? Because there's a principle. Even if someone stole it, now it's in their possession. It's like they have it. Very good. So if they now make it ownerless and someone else takes it, it's theirs. It's theirs. I give a probably more relevant example. The joke is that I shouldn't say it's a joke, but I think Bill Gates once said two biggest thieves of computer software in the world are China and Israel. So here in Israel, the joke is there's probably one legal copy of every program, and there's one legal copy, and everything else people copy from it. Right? Windows is a good example. So a person buys the computer. So when they buy a computer, Windows is installed, right? Not going to be able to use it otherwise, right? So they install Windows. Now, does that person have an obligation? This is not a legitimate copy. It's a copy. Yeah, they have the original, but it's a copy. Now, if you were to buy the original, cost you $400, right, or more. Very good. Now, the issue is, can you have that installed on your computer? Now, why would it be permissible? Because even though it says anyone who steals it, they're liable. Yeah. But this copy that somebody has, it's probably changed hands 1,000 times. So that takes it down for sure. For sure takes it down. And now they give it to you. Because even though Bill Gates makes, hey, this is stealing or whatever, but you didn't steal it. And the person you got it from didn't steal it. This has like been copied 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times. Question is, can I get benefit? Can I get benefit from this? So I remember I asked my Rabbi this question. He said, yeah. So first of all, I'm never going to prosecute the person who ever did it, right? But even so, since it changed hands so many times, so you can get benefit from that. It's not it's by you, it's not stolen. Right? Someone else did it and passed it on. Once they passed it on, it's a different issue. The person who stole it, yeah, it's forbidden for them. The fact now they made copies and everyone else has it, so people can use it. Now, will there be people that will buy a legitimate copy? There will be. They don't rely on that. It's a very, very strong permissibility. Once you already have it, once it's already been stolen, so to speak, so you can get benefit from it. I have to be more righteous? Who says I have to be more righteous in such a case? Right? The owner's already given up hope. Right? And they're going to prosecute anyway. It's just a deterrent. So the person originally stole it good. It's forbidden. And what about all the other copies? Should be okay. Now, if someone were to ask, do I have to go that far and cough up $500 or however much it costs to get, legitimate copy? No. Should a person do it? It's their choice. Most people aren't going to do it. They're not going to do it. That's not stealing. That's not stealing because they got it third hand, fourth hand, 10th hand. So it's already changed possession so many times, it's not stealing. I have to be, holier than thou, says. You get benefit from that. Microsoft's losing out. They'll get plenty of people who buy it. Right? They'll get enough people to buy it. Again, if a person doesn't want to have on their conscience a tinge of stealing, they should buy a legitimate copy. Most people aren't going to do it. Even if they're making plenty of money, they're still not going to do it. Jew or non-Jew, is there an obligation? No. Person wants to go beyond the letter of the law, well beyond the letter of the law when no one else does, they could. The vast majority are not going to do it. Not even a question. So they don't have to. So we don't have to. Which gets into the whole thing about copyright. Person has a person downloaded now, right? They paid for whatever, for music, and they make copies of that. Right? So there's the whole question. Right? That's the whole question. If you're using it for yourself, why not? You're not selling it. You're not giving it to other people. Made a copy because you don't want to get this copy to be ruined. Right? How many people back in the day had, cassettes? Right? Cassettes can get ruined. So people make a backup. Now, according to what they say you can't even make a backup. Yeah. So when it comes to copyright in that sense, for yourself, you can do it. Make a copy for other people and let them use it. No, that's a different problem. And if you have all these songs all over, you just want to download it. You end up downloading a whole album because it's already out there. God forbid it, put it out there. I remember there was a case. Somebody stole somebody's music, and they put it, they put it on an album without their permission. The person comes to Beis Din, and the Beis Din said, "Yeah, you got a good claim. Can sue him for it." Well, I didn't give permission to do that. Take 2, 3 of his songs, add a few songs, and put it on an album. He's got royalties. You got to ask permission. That's stealing. That's definitely stealing. But don't people understand that? Yeah. They don't understand that. That means it's permissible to do. Right? They had these rogue what do you call it, music things that they would take some of these, they would take a lot of these things and put it on there, and you had to pay a fee. Pay, let's say, a certain amount a month or whatever, and you get all these things for free. Right? Essentially download as much as you want. Yeah, why? So again, is that permissible? Same question. Same question. Person who took it, they're liable. Now the fact they made it, they made it viral, they're charging you. Why can't I get benefit from it? I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Or you have, let's say you have certain, people who are into, let's say, marketing. A lot of programs out there. Some cost more, some cost less. So there's a forum that puts a lot of, they'll buy it. They'll buy a certain program, whatever. You're part of this group. You can get access to it. There's also another question came up. Are you allowed to get access to it? Is that permissible? No, you didn't steal it. You didn't steal it. Someone else did. Can I get benefit from it? Right? Again, if it's already changed hands 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, it's the same thing. You get benefit from it. You have to get benefit from it. You won't have to pay for it. A person's tight for money, and this is going to help them or whatever. Is it better to pay for it? Sure. Definitely better to pay for it. But once the issue is, again, it's more of a philosophical issue, right? More than a halachic issue. Because if it's changed hands so many times, not an issue. You didn't steal it. Changed hands a lot of times. Question is a moral issue. Am I allowed to get benefit from it? So since it changed hands so many times, not stealing. Now, is that, according to where the person's holding, is that a tinge of stealing? So Rabbi would say no. Not at all. Not a tinge of stealing. So it'd be permissible. Now, would some go beyond the letter of the law here? Yeah, some would, but most won't. You don't have to. And that's not like, if person on a much higher level, let's say. So would have to. There are halachic guidelines here. That's the point. Right? That's the point. Someone says in the past, Rabbi just worked 3 hours a day. In other words, are sometimes insane. You're right. Right? Even a rabbi of a synagogue. No, plenty of rabbis of synagogues have other jobs because they don't pay them. Right? They pay them nothing. Pay them peanuts. So not only are they on call to answer everybody's questions and help them out and this and that, they're also going to make money. Right? They're not making enough money, so they have to have other jobs. Right? It's very common. Especially someone's a rabbi of a synagogue. It's very common. Very, very common. If an item hypothetically is stolen, item which costs 0 cents, yeah, if it's not worth any value, they're not punished. If it's worth the value of a pruta, which is a small amount, let's say a dime, 5 cents, right? Then they're liable. For a Jew, it has to be worth something more, but for a non-Jew, it has to be worth something. If it's worth nothing, you're 100% right. If it's worth nothing, you wouldn't get punished. Right? Technically, you wouldn't be punished. Right? Because you didn't steal anything. It has no value. Right? It has zero value. Someone asked, prosecutor makes false claims in secular court. Defendant agrees to pay in order to get rid of the lawsuit. Is it a hack for free money? Could be. Yeah, it's kind of a problem. Yeah, what if someone goes to rabbinical court? The rabbinical court takes bribes. Now, if you're the defendant, you're being accused of something, you have the right to go to any rabbinical court you want. But what if the other person knows you're going to a rabbinical court that takes bribes? There are rabbinical courts, unfortunately, take bribes. Yeah. So you're kind of stuck. Now, if the other person can provide proof to another rabbinical court why they won't go to this rabbinical court, then they might have a right to go to tell this person can't go there, you have to go somewhere else. Usually we go after the one that's being accused. But if he goes to a rogue Beis Din, and the other person knows that, then he's stuck. Right? Then he's not going to get a fair trial and he's toast. Right? So in your case, you get false witnesses. That's the whole thing about false witnesses. Someone hires false witnesses, right, to say that, you did this or you did that. And you don't have good enough witnesses, let's say, against or whatever. Yeah, you could lose. You could lose. But, someone could say, well, in that case, what happens if you can't afford, you can't afford lawyers, you get dragged into this, you just pay them off, to get rid of the lawsuit. Yeah, it could be a hack, for sure a hack. Does it happen? I'm sure it happens. Because people got nothing better to do but try and scam people. Right? Instead of trying to make money on their own or do something legitimate, they scam people. Yeah. Now, even a person was in that situation, you can't get out of that situation. So you have to look at it that God wanted you to lose this money, and that's the way you're losing it. And it's kind of a harsh way to look at it, but that's the reality. It could be, it's a hack, yeah. Yeah, the problem is, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. And when someone doesn't have money, or they don't have connections or different things, they get abused. They for sure can get abused. Yeah, it's a problem. Definite issue. Yeah, somebody asks, one second. What do you say the Egyptian archaeologists say slaves didn't build the pyramids? Here's what they say. Right? They say slaves didn't build the pyramids. Yeah, so we disagree. Yeah, archaeology is not foolproof, but there's plenty of proof. There's plenty of proof archaeologically that the Jews were in Egypt, and the Jews were enslaved in Egypt. Now, if there's plenty of proof that Jews were enslaved in Egypt, isn't it a fair assumption that if they were in Egypt, they probably did that? Fair assumption. Hieroglyphics and papyrus prove the Jews were there and that the Jews got out. So that's not a question. But you got these heretics will say, yeah, they might have been there, but they were doing other things. They didn't build the pyramids. Yeah. So we have proof against that. What they say against that proof? I don't know. Those Egyptians destroy all evidence. I don't know if they destroyed it. Still there. Still there. Remember one thing, people look at things the way they want to look at it, not the way it's true. Not the way it's true. They make all kinds of statements that make no sense also. Right? Anti-Semitism is not rational. People will say that, there'll be anti-Semitism in a place where they'll say Jews are parasites, they have no money. There'll be anti-Semitism in a place where they'll say Jews have money, and they control the media and all that. Yeah. So, it goes both, ways. Not allowed to move stolen objects. What's the problem? If you're allowed to get benefit from it, why can't you move it? Why shouldn't you be allowed to move it? You have a stolen bicycle in front of a garage door. Stolen. Okay. Are you allowed to move it? Why aren't you allowed to move it? Just because it's stolen doesn't necessarily mean you can't move it. Yeah, it was a lost object. Yeah. So then the whole question, do I have to advertise that it's lost? Can I move it? That's a different issue. If it was a lost object, then someone could get it back if they have proper signs to say what it is and where it was and different things. But if you have a stolen object, Jew or non-Jew, we don't discriminate here. What difference does it make? Why can't they move it? Let's say, I would say it like this. Let's say it's something that is worth a lot of money. So moving it could damage it. That's a different issue. Even if it was stolen, I say, yeah, that's a different issue. If it's something that, you moved it for whatever reason, not a question of, damaging it, why shouldn't you be allowed to move it? You'd be allowed to move it. Again, just because something is stolen doesn't mean I can't do anything with it. Right? Don't make that mistake. Who says I can't do anything with it? Right? Again, depends how many, even if you know who the owner is, that's a different issue. And that's a different issue. You got to get back to the right owner. If you don't know who the owner is and the thing was stolen, can I move it? Sure, I can move it. Sure, I can do whatever I want with it. Right? Seemingly, it's been made ownerless, and the owner doesn't think it's going to get it back. Right? But Jew or non-Jew, wouldn't matter. You're allowed to move it. Can I give you a link on the internet that is papyrus evidence? Yeah, I'll look for it. I'll look for it. I mean, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. They don't. Nobody denies the Jews were there. There's proof that the Jews were there. Now they want to make a jump and say the Jews were there. They didn't build the pyramids. Who built the pyramids exactly? Other nations that were there. The Jewish nation, the only nation that got, that when they were enslaved by Egypt, they enslaved a lot of nations. They're the ones that escaped. Right? So they can make a claim, well, maybe there are other nations there, maybe someone else did it, maybe. It's kind of a stupid thing, though. If you think about it. Because, we believe 100% the Jews were there, they were enslaved. Now, the Medrash says a lot of things that the Jews did there. They made them build things, they just collapsed. Just to have fun, just to make them work. Yeah. Things that didn't make any sense. They just had them do it and kept doing it over and over again until, these things got destroyed. Build it again. Build it on this type of land, it's going to collapse. Build on this type of land, it's going to collapse. Right? So, the assumption that they were there, everyone seems to agree. I mean, you got two major religions of the world, quote unquote. The Muslims and the Christians both believe God gave the Torah on Mount Sinai. So if he gave the Torah on Mount Sinai, that means the book has to be true up to a point. That we're not chosen anymore, whatever the case is. But they're not denying the entire book of Exodus. They're not coming and saying the Exodus never happened. That a Jew had to say more than 20 years ago. Got up on the seventh night of the Passover and he said the whole thing was a myth, never happened. If I was sitting in the crowd, I would have said, so why do you eat matzah? Oh, it's a myth. You're a myth. Why would I clean my house? Why would there be so many remnants of the Exodus from Egypt, in a mezuzah and prayer and other things that it never happened? Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, does it? No. Right? So the fact that the Jews were there, and the Muslims agree the Jews were there, Christians agree the Jews were there, Hindus probably agree the Jews were there, and the Buddhists and everybody else, no one denies that. They might say we're not chosen anymore, different things, okay? But they don't deny that. Good. So if the Jews were enslaved, what are they doing there? What are they doing as slaves? Probably a lot of things. Right? One of them, I would assume, they probably haven't built things. They're probably in construction. Probably doing other things, other menial tasks, and who knows what. It's out of the realm of possibility. If you're going to tell me the Jews weren't there, you got a good question. You got a good question. Yeah. But papyrus will show that the Jews were there. Good. Right? So try and find them. Good. But to say, you say, okay, the Jews were there, but they didn't build the pyramids. Okay, so what exactly did they do? So what do these archaeologists say they did? They could have done all kinds of things. Sure. I don't think that's the realm possibility they did it. Don't think, well, I just gotta, drink the Medrash Kool-Aid and say, oh, the Medrash said it, so it's true. Well, we believe it's true. Yeah, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. And we don't necessarily care what archaeologists say anyway, because a lot of this stuff is against Torah, right? And they have an axe to grind against Torah anyway. But, because they want to disprove the Torah, right? But that it doesn't say, it says they built Pitom and Ramses, right? So we understand Pitom and Ramses, what was there? It was a pyramid. Yeah. So say no, there are other things there. They did other but they were there. If they, either they were there or they weren't there. So good. Even if you agree they were there, let's say they didn't build the pyramids. Let's say, okay. Yeah. Does that deny that the Torah is true? Does that deny that God gave the Torah? No. Doesn't deny that. The Torah doesn't say directly they built the pyramids. It's brought down in other sources. Right? Torah doesn't say it directly. So you can see the Torah doesn't even say it. Good. Oral law tells me that. Good. And even if they didn't build it, what's the big deal? I'm going to lose my faith because, they didn't build the pyramids. They could have done all kinds of other things there, but they were there and enslaved. That's the whole point. If the archaeologists are going to say they were never there, different issue. That's a totally different issue. They built the pyramids, didn't build the pyramids. It's going to give you a lack of faith. Come on. Got to be stronger than that. What do the archaeologists know anyway? Yeah. Doesn't matter. Right? They're relevant, but yeah, I'll look for that. I'll look for that evidence. Yeah, let me see other questions here. Parent gives child up for adoption. Child obligated to care for the parents in the old age. If they know who the parent is, they know who the parent is. They should. They got an obligation. Right? Child has an obligation to take care of the parent. If they can't take care of the parent, they find a way to do it. Either that they use their own money. Right? Even if they have to use their own money, they have to take care of the parent. Feed them, clothe them, take care of their needs. Even if it comes out of their own pocket. Right? If you know who the parent is. Now, what about if they were adopted? Will they have to take care of their adopted parents? That's a good question. That's a good question. If they're adopted and they're like your parents, yeah, you should take care of them also. As a chesed, as an act of loving kindness, not necessarily an obligation for a parent. But if they raised you, it's like they're your parent. Child is kidnapped. Yeah, until adulthood, how should they remedy this? Not sure the question. If you don't know who the parent is, I spoke to someone a number of years ago, and for whatever reason, they could not find who their birth mother was. The file was closed. They couldn't get access. All right, this is a much more complex question. I would have said you go after the majority. The majority of people is probably not Jewish. Right? It's probably not Jewish. So whatever. This is a whole complicated question. But yeah, if a child knows who the parent is, they should take care of them. They should take care of them when they're old. They should for sure take care of them. They should for sure take care of them. If they know who the parent is. I'm saying that they were adopted, probably should take care of the adopted parents also. Again, as an obligation of a parent, no, not necessarily, because they're not your parent, right? But if they raised you, then yeah, you have greater obligation. You would have a greater obligation. Yeah. Let me see. How far does no had to be from trees, but Noah wants to pray. It don't have to be that far. What's the difference? I would say if you want, Noah wants to pray. He can pray, almost anywhere, but you want to make sure you're not distracted. How far away? Far away enough. You're not distracted. Right. What's the answer? It's going to depend on the person. If a person finds solace, there's nobody there. There's nobody there in the basketball court. You want to pray there? You can pray there. Not a problem. I mean, you have to be, 500 meters away, 1,000 meters away, or like, something like that. I don't know. I don't know, how far that goes, as long as you're not distracted, right? So if it's something where, you'd have to judge that yourself. If you feel you're too close, you're going to get distracted, go further away. How much further? Depends on the person. Depends how much you get distracted. Can I be near these things when praying? Yeah. It's not a problem. It's a problem of distraction. That's the problem. Right? That's the problem. Is that you get distracted. So if you're further away enough, we don't get distracted, good. If you feel you're too close, you're getting distracted, that's a problem. So it depends on the situation. It depends on the person. Yeah, any other questions? All right, I'm gonna stop here. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Israel time. Anyone has any questions, feel free. You can contact me on Facebook at Chaim Kaufman, Beyond Orthodox Conversion Judaism, orthodoxconversion.com. Beyond Orthodox Conversion to Judaism on YouTube. There I got videos on Q&As, ethics for our fathers, controversial issues, Torah portion of the week, even though I'm very behind. You want to email me, rabbichaimkoffman@gmail.com, RBBICHAIMCOFFMAN @gmail.com, whichever good beginning of the day,